Okay, so I'm back in the workshop with this £5 gramophone, and if you saw my previous video you'll know that I was going to break it for parts. In fact, that's the only reason I bought it. However, I've had a lot of comments on my previous video. A lot of love has been shown for this this little machine, and I've decided to give it a reprieve. I think I actually will take some of the suggestions and clean it up and put it back into use, because it is a bit unique. Well, it's unique. Things are either unique or they're not. It is unique. It is a bit unusual. So yeah, I'm going to keep it. Now, thank you very much for all the comments. I'm going to put some on the screen now, if I haven't already. Lots and lots of people have said various things. I'm not going to go through each comment in turn, but what I did want to do was pick up a few of the sort of general points about you know, quite how much of this is actually a Decca 50, because it claims to be a Decca 50. It's you know, it's likely that this is the guts of a Decca 50 that's been recased in a new wooden box, but not everything's Decca 50. How much of it really is. And I don't have another Decca 50, but I do have another machine, another Decca. And if I just get it out and put it on the workbench. Now, you might be looking at the cameras thinking my workbench is quite small, but I've got some quite wide angle cameras. Now, this here, let's see if I can actually open this up. Right, there we go. Now this here is actually a Decca 10. It's got the same little plaque at the front here. That says 10 on that one, that says 50 on that one. You would think that the Decca 10 would be a simpler, cheaper model. I'm not really sure that it is actually. It actually has an auto stop, much more complicated auto stop here. You'll also notice that there are some additional holes. I mean, you know, what's going on here and here and here? Well, this machine has been remotored at some point in the past, and what I was planning on doing was taking the motor from this machine and actually transplanting it into here. And if I pull the platter off this one here, you'll probably understand a little bit more why I thought that was a good idea. Because quite clearly the speed control here is the same, or would fit the space here where there's a hole and there's this bit, but there's no lever. There's no you know, there's no lever to actually control the speed. And also the motor itself, you've got 3 mounting holes here. I'm not sure if that's in camera shot. Got hole here, well, screw here, screw here, screw here. And this machine here has also got a similar set of holes where the screws would go in. So the motor that's in this would fit in here, and I think is actually a suitable motor. It may actually be the same motor or the same type of motor, and this is it's a Garrard 50, sorry, it's a Garrard 20 in this machine. So it's a Decca 50, but it's a Garrard 20 motor. And in here there's another motor. We'll get to the motor in here in a minute. And you can see there's also the brake here, and so that brake there and the brake down here as well also look very similar. So I think for a bit of space, I think I might just actually pull the motorboard out of this machine here. The problem with portable gramophones is that because of the lids, they're really quite difficult to put on benches and do sensible videos about. This one here actually, because it's lidless now, is more convenient in that respect. Anyway, gonna grab a screwdriver. Let's see what we've got. You may be asking, did I prepare for this video? And it's like, well, a bit. I do I do think about my videos before I start them. Sometimes because I don't really know what it is that I've bought, it's as much of a surprise to me as it is to you when I open stuff up. In this case, I've had both these machines in pieces. In fact, there are videos. Well, there is an old video of this Decca 10 being opened up when I first got it, which must be it might be like 7 years or so ago now. It's quite some time. So anyway, let's pull a few screws out. Oh yeah, this one doesn't actually unscrew because the wood's split underneath. So pull that out if we can. You can see the split wood here, where the where it's just broken away, but that could be repaired. There's not a problem there. Now, just before I move the case off the table, I do want to just talk about the winding handle. Now, this clearly isn't the right winding handle. I don't know quite what the winding handle would have been like. I mean, the one for this machine kind of lives in here. Trying to do this one-handed because I'm also holding the motor board in the other hand still. Right, put that back like that. So because this machine's been remotored, the winding handle actually goes in here on the left hand side, which is just not right. It should already go in here. But one thing that's worth noting is that even though this motor here on this machine would fit, this little winding handle here, if I take it out, this is just not going to go into the case anything like enough to reach the motor. So even if I did move the motor from here into here, this winding handle would not be suitable. I'd have to find another winding handle. And actually, I thought, just for the sake of argument, I'd look through my collection of machines and winding handles to see if I had something suitable. And I actually don't. I do not appear to have a winding handle suitable for this Decca 10. This winding handle, I think, must have come with the motor, which has been put into it. So anyway, hopefully that made sense. So if we just close this case down, put that to one side and grab the mechanism. Okay, that might make it a little bit easier to see on the various cameras. So what else we want to talk about? I suppose sound box would be a good thing to start with. This is the wrong sound box on this machine over here. So this Decca 50, this is not the sound box it should have. This is a little clumpier one. And actually, although I'd like to keep this sound box with this machine because it's original to the machine, even though it's not original to this Decca 50, it doesn't fit very well, and I will have to come up with some other arrangement if I'm going to keep it, I think. The actual tone arm seems to be fairly standard. I think it's the same as the one on the Decca 10. I have another tone arm here actually, which I found, which again is pretty much the same thing as far as I can see. Don't know if that's in camera shot. So I don't think the tone arm is particularly Decca. I think it's probably more, well, I don't know, it might be a Garrard one along with the motor, but I think it's fair to say that that based on the tone arm on here on this Decca 10, which admittedly has got some extra things to operate the auto brake, but yeah, I think there's every reason to think the tone arm itself is probably the right thing. and this sort of weird piece of metal here, which the sound box sits in, like so. The Decca 10 here, you can see it's got a similar sort of metal thing there. It seems to be maybe put on the other side of the motorboard. Oops. Just rescue the winding handle. So yeah, so it seems to have been put on the other side of the motorboard, but yeah, it looks like it's probably the same thing there, very similar. Right, let's move a few things. As you can see, I'm working in very small space here. My other workbench, which is a little bit bigger, is just full of stuff at the minute, so I'm not able to make videos on that. So it's worth turning it over. Actually, before we turn it over, I'm just going to go and fetch the sound box that belongs to this one. So the sound box that belongs to it's this one here. Let's see if we can actually make that fit. And I probably use something like that on this Decca 50. In fact, maybe even this very sound box. And I think that's a standard fitting. Let's try H&V number 4. And indeed, that fits just fine too. So, yeah. So this little Columbia sound box here is a rather later one with a smaller fitting, and yeah, that's why the tone arm has been modified with this sort of piece of piping here to make it fit. So yeah. So soundbox wise, yes, this machine would have had a soundbox maybe like this one, but certainly not the one that's on there already. And one of the advantages of actually modifying it or reverting it back to the original fitting, the original sort of standardized fitting like this here, is that I'll be able to put different soundboxes on, which will suit me quite a lot. I don't actually have a decent machine in the house at the minute for playing records. I've got my Apollo horn gramophone and my Victrola, both of which are quite elderly machines, neither of which really want to take other sound boxes, and they're not really players, you know, they're not everyday players is what I mean. Right, let's flip this over. Take this sound box off here. Right, so there we go, there's the underside of both machines. Let's put this horn back on. That fitted on like that. So to my mind, it's quite clear that the horn on this Decca 50 rebuild is the correct horn. I don't know whether it's a Pacific Decca horn, but it looks very much like the horn on this Decca 10. In fact, I've examined both of them. I'm pretty sure they are the same part. I mean, they may vary in year of manufacture, but they're essentially the same thing made to the same pattern. And this one here has been curiously modified. I don't know if you can see, but a great big lump has been taken out of it, so that the gear wheel on this motor can actually rotate. because this is the wrong motor. The motor that should be in this machine is this motor here. Sorry, is this motor here, this style of motor here, which is which, as I said, is a Garrard number 20. And if we have a quick look at the sort of motor board, you can see, well, can you see? I mean, if the horn is in the same place, I think what I'm trying to say is I think the Decca 10's longer, and I think that's kind of partially why there's a problem with the idea of putting this motor into this machine. And I would probably have to make some sort of extension, either find a longer crank or make some sort of extension. So I'm not 100% sure how that would work, but that certainly would be a problem. But yeah, looking at the bottom, the horns I think are the same. Somebody mentioned that they weren't sure what happened to the bell of the horn. Well, it's possible that both these machines have lost their bells because both of them have been modified. Clearly the horns have been off both machines. This one because it's had a big lump cut out of it. This one because obviously it's been recased. So it's possible there was an additional thing that went round to bring the sound out the back. But it's also possible that there just wasn't, and that on these Decca portables, that is just the way it is. I don't have another complete Decca portable of this vintage. I have a much older one, but not one of this vintage. To have a look at. I did have a Decca 100. It was my very first gramophone, and I did do some videos on that, and that actually did have a sort of bell arrangement. In fact, I think it might have even had a horn that went behind the motor and then just went out to a bell here. You can see the metal horn there. So the sound box goes on here, sound goes down this tube here and then into the horn, and then I think is reflected up and out. So there we go. That's the underside. I mean, you can see the bottom of the needle cup here. I think that is correct for this machine. And the Decca 10, I have pictures of a complete Decca 10 that I found at an antique shop. Decca 10 doesn't have one of these as far as I can see. So yeah. So to my mind, this machine here, apart from the sound box, which is clearly the wrong one, I think the rest of it is pure Decca 50. Everything about it that I can see says Decca 50 to me. Nothing about it says another machine. The motor, I am sure, is correct for the machine. And I say it would be correct for this machine too. It has the same speed indicator in the same position. I've measured it. It's the same position from there to there. So what I do with this machine, I think will be a subject of another video. What I do with this machine, well, I mean, I'll play some records on it. I'm going to fit the horn back on properly, and I'll do a test with and without the horn. Maybe I'll do a test with the original sound box, and maybe some other sound boxes. I don't know yet, but there'll be certainly one or two other videos. So if you've liked this video, then please do give it a like, and if you've got any comments, and I say I really do appreciate all the comments that I've had. There were too many really to talk about in detail, but I was amazed at the love expressed for this Decca 50, and I'll clean it up and get rid of the rust and get it working nicely. So yeah, I'll do that. But otherwise, if you've enjoyed the video, then you might like to watch this one too. And thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.